Adam Munsterteiger at AdamCM777 on Twitter. He's a publisher of BuffStampede.com. Adam, thanks for jumping on with us this morning. Sorry we had a bit of a kerfuffle trying to bring you on, but we're talking Cody Williams and Tristan da Silva, and I'm just curious what you make of Cody Williams, not getting to see him much, obviously only there for 1 year. He played in 24 games, but a guy with the potential that seems to have NBA organizations salivating, and Portland might be taking him 7th overall in the draft.
Yeah, there's a lot to sink your teeth into when it comes to Cody Williams. He's 6'8". He's a longer, leaner player than his older brother, Jalen Williams, who averaged 19 points a game as a second-year NBA player with the Oklahoma City Thunder. He's versatile. He's got nice touch around the rim. He's an efficient scorer. He's not going to force a lot of shots. He shot over 55% for the Buffs this past season. He can handle the ball well. You can kind of play him as a point forward role in transition, and he's an unselfish guy that's going to make that right basketball play. But, on the other side of that, at times he needs a little bit more of a killer instinct. There were times he came in as a McDonald's All-American. He was the highest rated signee in Colorado basketball history. And, folks kind of wanted him to be a little bit more assertive at times. But, on one hand, I think Cody was doing that partly because KJ Simpson and Tristan da Silva were upperclassmen in the program, and so he kind of deferred to those guys at times. But you mentioned the injuries there. He missed 13 games, and they were all relatively minor injuries, but it was like every time he came back, there was kind of that reacclimation period. So, yeah, it was hard to really get the full picture of Cody Williams this past year because he was in and out of the lineup so much, and he didn't even start those final 5 games of the season, mainly because the team was on a winning streak when he was out with an ankle injury. And so when he came back, was working the rust off, they didn't want to mess with the chemistry of that starting group. So I would say at this point, Cody Williams is physically immature. He's going to need to bulk up a bit and gain some muscle now that he's going to be going up against grown men in the NBA. So that's going to be tough. He does, like I mentioned, have really nice touch around the rim, but it's going to be a more physical game. And so it's going to take some time in the weight room for him. But like I said, he's physically immature, but he is emotionally super mature. Obviously, Jabari Walker on the Portland Trailblazers organization had his dad, Samaki Walker, that kind of showed him how to be a pro. And Cody Williams had Jalen Williams to show him how to be a professional. And their parents spent a combined 36 years in the Air Force and have really instilled a good work ethic into both of those boys. And Cody Williams turned down big NIL opportunities coming out of high school. He went to Colorado because he developed the best relationship with Tad Boyle in Colorado staff and kind of had his eye on the big picture. And that's pretty rare in the new NIL era of college athletics. So again, physically, he's going to need some development. Emotionally, he's going to come in and he's going to be a professional from day one.
Yeah, kind of a two-parter for you, Adam, on that. The physicality part, like how much that stuck out to you watching him. He weighed 178 at the Combine. I don't know what his playing weight was during the season, but I can't imagine it was much different than that. How much you think that impacted him during the season, watching him? He's got the height, he's got the length. He's just not a very big person. So what was the impact of that? And the skill set for you that when you watch him and you say, he did a lot of these things, but he could really get better and you think he can be really good in what area of his game if he continues to work the way his work ethic is?
Yeah, from the physicality standpoint, he would drive and get kind of pushed off his point. Now, one of the things about Cody Williams, like I mentioned, his touch around the rim, a lot of times he would take that contact and kiss it off the glass and have an impressive shot. It seemed like it would be a low percentage shot, but like I said, he shot over 55%. So he can absorb some of that physicality and still get the ball up and make some impressive shots. But just from a day-to-day grind, and we saw his body wear down at times this past season. That's going to be more the issue than him being able to finish in the lane. It's going to be can he stay in the lineup physically? I think in terms of the area of his game that he can improve the most is his shooting from deep. He's an okay shooter at this point. But I think now that this is going to be his full-time job, you're going to see him steadily improve in that in the coming years. He does have a good shooting touch, and so that's an area I think he will get quite a bit better. But when he comes in as a rookie, he's probably not going to be a sharpshooter from deep right away.
Interesting. Let's ask you about the other Colorado prospect, because he's showing up, just worked out recently with Portland, and quite the opposite of Cody Williams. Not there for 1 year, he's there for 4 years. A guy who you saw a ton of, played I think 120-something career games as a Buffalo. Tristan da Silva, just what you make of his game, his size, the way he's filled out, and how you think he translates to the NBA.
Yeah, like you mentioned, he's an older player. He's 23 years old right now, so unlike Cody, where you've got this ceiling that's pretty high, and that's why he's going to get drafted higher than Tristan da Silva, because Cody Williams could potentially be a starter in the NBA for a very long time. Tristan da Silva, I think he is a lower ceiling, but a high floor type of draft pick, especially when you look at I'm sure you guys have talked ad nauseum about how weak this draft is. Tristan da Silva probably in most years would be a fringe first rounder, early second rounder. This year he's kind of moved up quite a bit, and you could see him kind of in the middle of the first round because it is a weaker draft. But in a weaker draft, if you draft Tristan da Silva, I think from day one you're going to have a rotational guy off the bench, 6'9" with a 6'10" wingspan, somebody that can guard multiple positions and is a good shooter, an efficient scorer, kind of plays at his own pace. He's from overseas in Germany, and quite an interesting story is his older brother, Oscar da Silva, played and started at Stanford, but Tristan was really under the radar as a recruit, and part of that was his recruiting season was right in the heart of COVID, so not a lot of people got their eyes on him, and so he came to Colorado is kind of this unknown player and was really the lowest rated guy in his class, came in from day one and just steadily improved. And we saw the last 2 years him become a very efficient scorer. Again, like Cody Williams, sometimes he lacks kind of that killer instinct. He will defer, which a lot of times he's making the right basketball play. So that's not always a bad thing, but again, plays with his own pace and is one of those like sneaky athletic guys. He had one of the better vertical leaps at the combine where when you watch him play, you wouldn't necessarily think that because he kind of plays a slower brand of basketball. But I think he can be a guy that can come off the bench and provide minutes for you right away. Will he ever be a starter in the NBA? Probably not, unless he surprises us just in terms of continuing to develop, even though he's already pretty mature at 23 years old.
Adam, I'll get you out of here on a two-parter for you. One, you've mentioned the killer instinct thing. We talked about Dalton Connect with somebody at Tennessee, and that was a big part of his game. He's driven by a lot of FU energy. I'm kind of curious because you mentioned this with Da Silva and Cody. How much maybe is it Tad Boyle's system of just there's not a dude per se, it's more like kind of the team stuff. Tad's done really an exceptional job with that program. How much of that is part of this equation, or do you just kind of watch these guys and think they don't have that kind of killer instinct? And then also on the Tad Boyle front, the relationship with the Blazers. I don't know if they're going to take a Colorado guy. They might not, but in the chance that they do, just what you've made of Jabari being here, Cronin being from Colorado, Chauncey playing at Colorado. The Blazers seem to have established a little bit of a West Coast Jay Wright Villanova thing where they kind of identify or they seem to be linked to Colorado quite a bit.
Yeah, well, to start with the connection there, Colorado has had 7 players drafted in the Tad Boyle era, and a lot of those guys, I wasn't all that high on their NBA potential, but Jabari Walker, watching that draft late, it was like there was a second there before the Blazers picked him at 57 that you thought he might not get drafted in it. And I felt like that would have been a travesty because the upside with him was so great. And obviously he's such a natural gifted rebounder. And you knew over time his shooting was going to continue to get better. And so it was great to see him land there. People out here in Boulder are keeping their eye on what Chauncey Billups is doing out there. He makes his way back to Boulder quite often. He's made it back to hang out with Deion Sanders a couple times in the last year and a half. And so, it would be great if the Blazers put another Buff on their roster. In terms of the killer instinct part of that, I think it's more just from Cody Williams and Tristan da Silva want to make the smart play. They want to be efficient scorers. And so that you applaud. But, there's not kind of that FU energy that you mentioned with Dalton next. Now, I think part of that was that it had less to do with Tad Boyle's system, but more in the sense that he recruits guys like that. That's what he's looking for in the recruiting trail. They had a team about 6 years ago that had a bunch of bad character guys, bad leadership, and he kind of vowed at that point that I'm going to vet these guys a whole lot more on the recruiting trail. And so the reason that Tristan da Silva and Cody Williams came to Boulder is partly because he saw them as those type of team first guys. And so that, again, you applaud that. I just don't see Cody Williams and Tristan da Silva as guys that are going to come in the game and they're going to attack. They're going to play within the framework of the team and, take their baskets as they come.
Yeah, great stuff. Adam Munsterteiger, go give him one of the best names we've ever had on the show.
Best name on the show history.
Mount Rushmore of last names. We love it. Adam CM777 on Twitter. Go give him a follow. BuffStampede.com. Thanks, man. Thanks for the time. The great insight on Cody Williams and Tristan da Silva, and hopefully we can catch up again soon.
You bet. Thanks, guys.
Absolutely. Really good stuff there on both those Colorado prospects. What do we make of what he said about Cody Williams and Tristan da Silva? He noted that maybe da Silva's never a starter in the NBA. Are you okay with that? Daily Ticker brought to you by Pelican Brewing. Visit pelicanbrewing.com for more details on locations, events, award-winning beers. Independently brewed since 1996. Pelican Brewing, born at the beach.